Uh-huh.
Nothing. They didn't answer. They just kept me on hold. So I called back and they're like, hold on, and put me on hold again. I was like, no, don't fucking. And so I'm trying to like get escalated and go to the next people up, but they're just having me on hold or telling me, oh, you can create your cut case number through this. And I'm like, I already have a case number. I just want to talk to a person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just annoyed. And now I have an assignment for tomorrow and the next 3 days for substitute teaching. So yay.
Yay. All right, give me a second. I need to go grab my plug for this computer. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay. BRB. That's not where it's supposed to go. Did you hang out with your boy?
Yeah. He met Dad.
Oh, how'd that go?
It went well. We went over to Jackie's and Neil cooked dinner.
Oh, you gotta cook.
Yeah. And it was a really good meal. But yeah. And they talked and got to know each other and everything's good.
Good. It's good. Good, good. Good. Excuse my hair. I've decided not to do anything with it today, which means that it goes everywhere.
Fair.
My phone on Do Not Disturbed. All right. So what? I look up and you get a smile on your face. What's the smile on your face for?
No, I'm just annoyed. So I'm trying to make myself feel happy by smiling. It's not working.
So opening story. Got one. Got one. Viewers, friends, DJ and I were playing Among Us the other day. We were playing with my roommates and some other friends of ours. And we're playing on one of the maps. And you have this feature on there that's called sabotage. If you don't know how it works, you're able to sabotage. If you play the imposter, you're able to sabotage like 3 things on the map: lights, a reactor, and oxygen. Lights, of course, makes the lights go out. So the imposter sabotaged the lights, and all the lights went out. My roommate runs over just as I'm killed and sees the imposter run away. And it hits me in that moment that the imposter is going to get away with killing me. And I am in chat, like losing my goddamn mind. Because the moment my roommate, the husband, opens his mouth, he's like, okay, listen. I don't know. I don't know quite what to say. And they're like, what color was it, husband? And he's like, well, you see, it was either blue or another kind of blue. My roommate is colorblind and cannot see the color purple, which was the color of the killer. I was losing it. Yeah. So DJ got away with murdering me.
Yeah, I didn't quite play that off as well as I had hoped. Wanted to make it play. I was like, oh, I ran back and you saw me run past, realize there was a body, and then go back.
But it didn't even matter because
Didn't get to that point.
He's like, it was. I think it was a color blue.
So we voted off blue.
I'm in the chat with all caps on, going, he can't see the goddamn color. I was livid. And what's funny is, like, on that Saturday, our birthday is one after the other. Mine's November 6th, his is November 7th. And on November 7th, a bunch of his coworkers got together and got him those color seeing glasses, the kind that have been like really popular to go around for people with colorblind. So they got him those glasses, and he was like putting them on, and we were yelling at him. I was yelling at him the rest of the night. I was like, play with those goddamn glasses on so you can see the colors.
Yeah. No, that was fun. And I felt bad that I kept killing you, but you were just like the first person that would run across me when my cooldown was good. So,
and
that
was the roll intro. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Deanna. And we're
the Halfwit Sisters.
So welcome back.
You know, we really should just like sit down and just brainstorm a list of of things we could do. We have the time to do that now.
We do.
That way we're not like messaging each other the day before going, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, that's not a technique that really works very well.
And what's funny is, like, I sent DJ like a couple days ago like some websites or like a TikTok that listed out some websites that would help us find like topics. Neither one of us have used it yet. So what was our topics from last week?
That is a great question. I have not edited that video yet. That was today's assignment. Updates on Belladonna. We did updates on Belladonna.
Something. What was that? That was weird. I don't remember. I don't remember.
I watched last week's episode to catch up.
So bad. They're so bad. Well, here's the pop-up for last week's episode anyways. So if you want to check that out, please do. I'm sure it was amazing. Like all our episodes are.
It was.
Oh, you're skipping. You're skipping. Give me a moment. Entertained each.
So.
Or cut it
out. No. So my adventures on trying to get this package that I'm really excited about, but like don't know how to explain, is still ongoing a week later. After we're done here, I'm gonna have to like get back on the phone because I was on hold for 30 minutes before I like was like, okay, hung up, try it again. Please hold. No.
How did I lose a 50-foot long cable?
And it is nowhere to be found.
It's 50 feet, DJ. How did I lose it?
I don't know. I need to get myself one because I'm going to move where my computer is. Bought a monitor today. As much as I like having my computer set up onto my TV and being able to work off my TV, it also like forces me to be on my couch, which is not conducive to getting through things and being productive. I have these modules I have to go through to get to do the last bit of certifications that I need to be a substitute teacher. Like I can already start. I have a month to do it all in, to get the certifications in. But like I started doing the first module and it's just like I got to part 14 and the drop down menu went and it had 23 more parts within part 14 and I still had to do 15, 16, 17, and 18. I was just like, I fell asleep. And I was just like, yeah, this is not conducive to a productive environment of work.
That's why I couldn't find it.
So I bought myself a monitor. Went to 3 stores today. Dollar Tree, which ended up having nothing that I needed because I was hoping to grab some props for Belladonna. Did not have what I wanted. Some Dollar Trees do, some dollar stores do, but this one did not. Then I went over to Michael's and I got some foam board so I can set it up like a little cubicle and put the monitor behind there and act like I'm in a cubicle. And then I went over to Best Buy and sat there looking at all the monitors for like 20 minutes going, I have no clue what I'm looking for because none of these have little tags saying what they are or how much they are. So I don't want to look at this one, which is really nice. It's like, it's nice. It's compact. It'd be perfect for my space. Also turns out it was $450 because it was like this really nice gaming one. And I was like,
your job still, you could have bought that.
I could have like bought one of the other ones. I ended up buying one of the open box for like this $100 monitor. Which if I get another job where I feel comfortable spending a couple $100 on a really good monitor, then this will just turn into a second monitor. But like there were some really nice ones. I was like, there was this like Samsung ones that's curved and I was like, ooh, that's pretty. I'm sure that's also expensive and I can also not tell which one it is down here because all of this is like just helter-skelter put together. Not at all near where it's supposed to, where the tag is to tell me how much it is or any of the stuff about it. So I just bought the open boxed one of the $100 LG monitor.
So I can't hardline this. I'm off of I record. I do all of my stuff off of the Surface Pro, and this doesn't have a hardliner, a port, an Ethernet port that I can do into. So I will need to find one of my other laptops to start doing our stuff off of, so that I can start hardlining for it. So we'll have to watch the recording back and see if
it skips a lot.
Yeah,
that's okay.
But damn, the thing smelled.
But yeah, so trying to make myself more productive by not sitting on my couch while trying to do productive things on my computer. I bought a monitor so I can put it under my bed and work from there.
It's so hard though. Like when having spent 2 years at home at this point, where part of it was like just me losing my mind, right? It's so hard. And I know for me, like eventually getting onto a schedule and figuring out how to do things again, like that helped a lot. I try to get up. The latest I sleep is 11. I try to get up by 11. If I sleep beyond 11, I get so upset with myself. Um, so I try to get up by 11, and then like I set some things for me to do. Like I make sure my dishes are done, my part of the dishes are done, right? Even now, like I don't even play video games until the afternoon most of the time. Like I don't turn that my console on until about 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. only if I'm sitting down to eat lunch and watch shows, right? Like getting yourself on a schedule and setting yourself some goals, it's hard, but that's what I've been trying to do. And I and again, I go back to October, like just before October and the mess that it became. Like I was getting myself onto a schedule. It was like I was waking up at like 7 and I was doing things for Belladonna. I was starting to get back into writing for my blog and all that stuff. And I was setting myself on a schedule and getting myself into this groove that helped, right? It's hard, but that's kind of what you're going to have to do if you want to make sure to stay productive. Because the moment you get into what happened in October, which was just a bunch of mess and depression and whatnot, to get yourself back out of that and productive again, it's going to take it. You find that it's harder to do, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. My issue lately is just like I have all these things that I could be doing. Like I have work that I could be working on. Like I have the modules that I could be doing. I have Belladonna stuff that I could be doing. I could be filming videos for TikTok. I could be trying to take care of my face and get all these. I have more acne than I have ever had, even going through puberty, because of how stressed I got at the end of my job at the hospital. It caused a whole bunch of breakouts, and I'm just trying to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Could be working on doing that. I turn around and I just fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm trying, like, I'm going to move my computer so I can, like, not sit on a comfy couch, and just work. So I can sit on a chair and be at a good table height and just like be able to work.
Right. Right. I was unwrapping my yoga block because I'm planning on getting back into yoga here.
Nice.
Doing some workout, like even if it's just 15 minutes, getting some workout in is a thing. I'm gonna be stealing one of my roommates. What do you call it? Stealing one of my roommate's switches because I got the Ring Fit. Yes, I got the Ring Fit. My goal is to get a Switch. I've been saving up for a Switch, so my goal is to get a Switch and eventually be. So I bought the Ring Fit as like, here's what I have been able to get through saving up. So I got the Ring Fit, and I'm gonna be doing like little bits of workout through that. And then I'm going to be adding in some yoga to like get my body, because I've been hurting a lot, especially from my job. Like I spend a lot of time hunched over working with these kids. Sorry. So I got myself a yoga block. Anyways, you were saying.
No, I mean, it's frustrating because it seems like when I have stuff that I have to do that outside of the home, I can do it. I can get up and I can go and I can do it and I'm perfectly fine. But the moment where I'm like, oh, I just have to do stuff at the house today, even though it's important stuff like editing the podcast or starting stuff with Belladonna, printing out papers so that I can get organized to do stuff. The moment I sit down to turn on a computer or like pull up the programs that I need, I just start falling asleep.
It's because, and you know this already, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's because you modularized your life. And when you go outside, your brain was already in that focus. Outside is where everything happens. Inside is your rest space. That's how you modularize your life, because you always were going out. You went out to do your work at the hospital, or you went out to do one of your things before COVID hit, one of your other jobs at wherever it was in the city, right? You always went out somewhere to do something. So your brain had gotten into that mode that outside is where work happens. And my rest space is inside. My rest space is on that couch. My rest space is here. This is where it is. And a lot of people have found this problem as well, because if you spend your entire time going out and having an office to do it, right? Your brain has already said, this is where my work is. This is where I work. Now since COVID has hit, a lot of people are like, oh shit, now I have to change. Now I have to compartmentalize where my workspace is versus where my home space is. This is why I tell my roommates, I don't eat in my room. I don't work in my room normally, because when I go into my room, I stop. I stop. Everything stops. In my room, I try not to do any work here. If I do, then I don't look at my bed. This is like, that's how compartmentalized I try to be, because the moment I look at my bed, I'm like, oh, sleepy time, right?
Yeah.
So and when I worked from home, when I worked at Microsoft, I worked from home too. I had like, when I moved to my second apartment, I purposely looked for a space that had a den, that I could compartmentalize my life further, so that I knew that over there was where I could play and have my fun. Then I had my room, my sleep space, and then I had my workspace, and that was the den. And my brain could focus and say, this is where everything happened. When I walked into the den, it was strictly work. I was either writing, I was working for Microsoft or something. And so that's kind of where you're at now. You're having to recompartmentalize where you're working at and rebuild that whole thing, because now you're not going out. Now you have to rebuild and say, all right, if I'm on the couch and I'm playing the Xbox, this is where my fun space is. Underneath the bed where I've set up all that, that is my office space. That's where all the work and magic happens, right? And then my bed is where I sleep. That's what you're having to do now, is compartmentalize your space, so that your brain can readjust itself to understand where it's going and how it's using that space.
Yeah. Just fun.
Yeah. So I have a hard rule, for those that don't know. I have a hard rule. I bring snacks into my room sometimes, but I will not eat meals in my room. I will never eat lunch, dinner, or breakfast in my room. Absolutely will not happen. It'll be outside. I will eat it on the couch. That's where it's at. Nowhere else.
Yeah.
I don't even have, and they wanted, like, we were talking about setting up a TV in here. I don't have TVs in here. I don't have my TV. I don't have my Xbox in here. I don't have any sort of, I don't really have any electronics in my room either, because again, that's recreation, and I want my room to be my rest space. This is where I come to sleep. This is where I come to rest. This is where I come to turn my brain off so that I can actually relax, right? That's what my room is. It's my relaxation space. I may do my yoga and some workout in here, but that's in that big empty section over there. And that's understandable, because I also don't want them making fun of me when when I'm doing some weird ass yoga pose, right? And it's also because this is my space, and I want to be in my space. So I'll do my workouts in here. But yeah, so I'm very strict about how I use my spaces as well.
Yeah.
So apparently
Just
our
making
topics
sure.
today are how we're using our spaces.
And it's like, so it's a thing in my space. Like there's like, had I had control of every single piece of furniture that was in this apartment, I would not have the giant couch that I have.
Mhm.
Um, it's like 4 seats, and there's two going here, and then there's the two here. And that's because that's how I arranged it, because I needed a little extra space in and to block off where my bedroom is.
Right. Well, you live in an apartment with two other girls,
Yes.
right? And you
But so
have the
the living
living.
room and dining area is my space. I don't have a door. It's open, right? So they have their own bedrooms. So this whole side of the apartment's basically mine. But this couch was not mine. This is my roommate's couch. The dining table is not mine. It's my roommate's. It came with 4 chairs. I had to put one in my closet, one's in the hall over here, and then the other two are under the bed. I have this giant rocking chair. I have this big armoire that's behind this curtain. And so it's just like there are certain pieces of furniture that I would not have had I had control over all of this, because it takes up so much space that I could otherwise have utilized in a more productive manner.
Right.
So I'm always having to fiddle around with, okay, where can I put this stuff so that it makes sense and it doesn't block anything.
Right, right.
So it's arranging my space around other people's things plus my own shit.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I get that. There we go. That's much better. Sorry, just over here fiddling. Yeah, I get that. 100%. I get that. Mm. Mhm.
And now I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put my bike again, because I'm going to have to move it so that I have space under my. I have space to move around under the bed with the giant dining table, which is the worst shape ever. It is a circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, fun times ahead for me today. Because I have to get all that set up today so that I can sit down and really bang out some of these modules for the certifications and get these 2 podcasts edited this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, Thanksgiving's next week.
Yeah. And I have worked that weekend with the company I've worked for previously. Worked with them a lot last year.
Mm.
Was supposed to work with them a lot this year. It's that COVID.
No, we can't say that. No, I've said it plenty.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
you've said it. It's fine.
This episode, whatever. It's not like we're monetized.
Yeah. So.
Oh, here's something. Okay, so this is a little bit of a news thing. I learned recently that, and this was on like a Phil DeFranco show. I'll put it down in our description. But it's talking about Twitch. Now, for those that don't know, Twitch was kind of its own thing. Twitch is a streaming platform that a lot of people play video games on. And YouTube kind of launched their own thing after that. YouTube Gaming is its own thing. They launched it as a competition to Twitch streaming. Now, Twitch got bought by Amazon. And for a long time, they just kind of ran and did its own thing. So YouTube has their system that is all about, and I wanted to do this as part of a video, but I didn't do it because it was going to be a long section. So I'll talk a little bit about it now. YouTube has their, what is it? Their strike system, which looks at copyrighted material, particular music, and puts a strike on your channel if you are in violation of that copyright. Now, this happens a lot with music, and that's a lot of the reasons why YouTubers, especially YouTubers, gaming, Let's Players, will often turn all the music off on a game. They will just completely remove the music from a game because it will always get a strike. Well, now Twitch is getting very hard on those same things. The problem is they didn't really give a good warning or provide a system in which streamers that have been on that channel for a long time, that have been on their program for a long time, a way of really going through. So there have been streamers that have had to remove 6 years, up to 6 years of content because they've used copyrighted music. Right. And they only gave him like a certain amount of days. Again, I'll put it down in put Phil DeFranco's video down in the comment section below, not comment section, in our description section below, so that you can kind of learn more about that. So Amazon is the one that's really making this push, and Twitch, being a part of Amazon, has had to make that change. YouTube has had this in a made this happen in about 2014, 2013 is when they made this push happen, and they gave a big, like, hey, you need to make sure your shit does not have this copyrighted music. In other words, you will get a strike. And there are companies out there that do abuse that strike system, and their algorithm, which is completely built around this strike system, can be overturned if you know what to use, which is the Fair Act, right? That's why the Fair Act is so important. The Fair Act simply states if you are commenting or using it in education or sort of like a parody way, then you don't get that strike. But most people are not using the music in those sorts of way, and that's why they get those strikes. So what we're seeing now is a lot of streamers from Twitch are now leaving Twitch and coming over to YouTube because Twitch handled that whole copyright situation so badly.
Yeah, it's a lot of work that they had put into their channel to grow to just have to delete.
Yeah. And it's so yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers that give YouTube crap for not really listening to their user base, but Twitch just kind of one-upped them on that. It's like, you really one-upped them on that with their whole thing here. And I wanted to talk about that again. We're going to talk about the whole situation because a couple of weeks ago there was I'll send you the screenshots, but it's been disproven this guy does not work for Google Studio directly and is not a creative director for Google Studio. He is the creative director for, he is or was, I don't know what happened to him since, but he is a creative director for a studio acquired by Google Stadia. And he had said this, which is, let me grab my phone so that I can remember what he said. Which says streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they use music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. Then he also goes on to say, the real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. How do you feel about that?
From a business standpoint, if I was a developer, I would understand what he was saying, but I wouldn't agree with it because it's free advertisement. Most of the people who stream, people who stream make up a small percentage of people who play a certain game.
Mm-hmm.
For every one streamer, there's probably 1,000 other non-streamers who have bought and are playing the game. And several of those are probably coming from the gamers who do stream and make it so that they're like, oh, this game looks really cool. Let me go and play it. A lot of indie games probably wouldn't get the same advertisement if a streamer didn't go, hey, let's play this game in a Let's Play. It's free advertisement. So 9 times out of 10, that gamer probably did buy the game and just used it as content for themselves, but it also like helped put that game out there.
Yes. So that's what I agreed with too. A friend of mine pointed out that Twitch, YouTube, they all take a certain, in YouTube partner program, they all take a certain amount, and it could be a hefty amount out of your stream. I think he said like Twitch takes like 50%, could be less. I don't know. I haven't looked into it myself, but could take upwards to about 50% from your partner, right? Twitch partner could take up to 50%. That's a lot. So I get where you're coming from. The thing about it is, like you said, it's free advertisement. It benefits publishers to allow streamers to just play their games and stream it for free, right? It definitely benefits indie developers. I wrote a blog post on this. I'll post that down in the description below as well about my whole feelings on the whole situation. And it's pretty much what you said, is that here I give a little talk about what it is, right? Some history on YouTube and why they made some of the choices that they made, and also how it benefits indie developers in that it is free advertisement mostly for indie developers, and how many indie developers have benefited off of that, especially ones that offer early access. One particular group that is benefiting off of it right now is Among Us, the game we talked about at the beginning of our podcast. Among Us was actually working, the developers of Among Us, Sloth?
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, Sloth something. They were originally making like Among Us 2, but decided not to because the current Among Us is making such a big splash that they are already making changes to the new game and have put the other one kind of on hold, or decided not to go through with it, and instead focus on improving the game that they currently have out. And other games that have succeeded because of that, because of less streamers, I'm going to say that less streamers really taking a shine to it, is a game that I really liked watching, which was, I was about to say Sea of Thieves, that's not it. Subnautica. Subnautica is an underwater game, an underwater adventure game that really got its foot in the door because there were people like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, PewDiePie playing it, and people got so invested in the development because they were playing it from the early access all the way up to the launch of the game, and then after that. And it got people really invested because they were invested in seeing how the progression of that game was going. And in return, those developers were giving them Easter eggs. Like they had, Jacksepticeye has this little eyeball thing that represents him called Septic Sam. And they put Septic Sam into the actual game, and that was a little Easter egg. They did the same thing with Markiplier. So, like, they had these little things like in remembrance to them, and that excited the Let's Players, who then would like rant about it on their playthrough, and then the people that would be so excited about that and would go out and buy the game, right? So these little things are like what get the people excited. So that's why.
That's also something that The Sims does too. Their recent pack app update was not built, all the houses in there were not built by the sim gurus that it normally is. It was built by simmers on YouTube. And that was like super exciting for them. It's like these simmers or let's players, they add to the game. They also can bring forth problems that the developers might have not seen, and then the developers go back and go, oh, let's fix this.
Right. So that's why publishers and indie developers do not reinforce it. They don't enforce it because they know that they would lose access to these large and sometimes niche channels, niche audiences even.
Yeah.
Groups that have been relationships that have been cultivated by these streamers and let's players. Like, that's the whole reason why they don't do it. That's my thing. Whatever. Thanks for letting me know. So that's the whole reason why they don't do it. At least in my opinion. Is there a better system to be had and made that might be more beneficial for? Yes, always. But there's also ways that it can be abused. And right now, this is kind of the best avenue for everybody. And still, even if you were to do it, publishers would probably still come out more on top because they make, I think a year ago, it was said that the video game industry made more than the movie industry by like $1 billion. And that wasn't just like off of Fortnite, which is still ridiculously popular. That was off of in general. Like, that's in general. The video game industry in general made more than the movie industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So random stuff we're throwing into our talk today, but we didn't really like plan ahead properly.
No, but we did talk about some topics that you had brought up, some topics that you wanted that we're going to do in a 3-week series, starting next week to give you time to finish your research and organize your thoughts on.
So the first of that I think I'm going to tackle is some stuff with dyslexia. So here's the preview. We'll do preview for next episode. I'm going to be talking about some things about dyslexia. I did a TikTok, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I ran across a couple of TikToks where people were talking about how frustrated they are being called out of saying some things wrong, or particularly characters or K-pop idols' names wrong. And I had to respond to that, and that was just because like there's a whole side of a conversation that people don't talk about when it comes to language, and that is the phonics side of language and how difficult that is for people with dyslexia. So I'm going to talk about that on our next episode.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
You smiled and laughed at me.
Because you were like, on our next episode.
You should see my TikTok episode my TikTok I did today. I didn't realize I was gesturing with my phone until I watched it back. But like what I was saying was so good, I was never going to be able to recreate that. So I was just like, it's just going to have to go. So like the whole thing is just like me gesturing with the phone camera and not with the mic that I had in my other hand, which would have made way more sense to gesture with.
Isn't this why you got a stand for your camera?
Yeah, but so like I wanted it to be, so I was sitting on my bed and I've been trying for like 2 hours to do a TikTok, like different TikTok videos. I was trying to do one on fan fiction, one on self-publishing, do like duets and stitches, and I tried like all these different kinds, and just none of them were working well. And I was like, what? And then I was like going to just like give up on doing a TikTok video today at all. And then I was like, no, I'm stubborn. And that's when it hit me. Like, that's what I'm going to do my TikTok video on, is about how stubborn I am and just doing TikTok. And so that's what I was sitting there doing. And I had the phone in my hand and that's what I did. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever. I did what I did, and I'm not taking it back.
It's okay.
Yes, I want to use my stand. I have bought it. I want to do something with it, but I haven't quite worked out. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this conversation that I want to do on TikTok. And I really should just be like reading through this to like figure it out on how to do it. On how to do it, because it would help. It would help. Because I want to talk about, I would love to do part of my TikTok, have some of my TikTok dedicated to just self-publishing and writing as a dyslexic person from my point of view. Because I learned how to write. I realized this the other day. Like, I learned how to write in a different way than most people did. And I was watching this lady's TikTok the other day about magic systems, hard magic systems versus soft magic systems. And soft magic systems were like ways that you could use magic to like tie your shoes, and hard magic systems were like ways that you can't use it to like solve simple life problems. Magic is too grand to use it, and that's like why her thing was like, that's why Gandalf can't like brew tea. And he can only use it to like slay a big demon monster. Like that's the whole reason why. I was like, okay. So I was trying to, but then I realized like I was never really taught these things, and I never really learned where to go for those things. And a lot of the reasons why is because nobody focused on teaching me how to really write or tell stories. All they taught me to do was just put words on a page, and as long as I could do that, that was good enough for them. Like that's the whole thing. So I wanted to, like, I'm trying to drill down in my mind how I learned how to write and how I learned how to tell stories, and bring that to the forefront. It's such a confusing process. I really don't know where to start. So I'm getting there. Sorry, I took over. What were you saying? I think the camera froze. Did you freeze? Or am I? Did you freeze? Did I break? Your camera froze.
But the rest of your body was like pixelated and all over the place, and it was creepy.
I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Well, we're almost done. So I was just gonna say TikTok can be kind of hard to do some series on, especially if it's an information-based series, because you have at most a minute to cram a whole bunch of information in, or you end up having to do multiple parts. And you know, there's that whole movement of in the part 2.
Yes. I have seen that. No, okay. I get this. I get the whole thing. Here's my part. How do you feel about that?
For some, I totally understand. Like, if it's a lot of the stories that have these part 2s can be told in one part. But people are going, I'm gonna tell you all the... And it's like, dude, stop filling the space with nothing and just tell the story.
Right. That's where I feel it too. I'm like, I get where you're coming from with I get where these part 2s are coming from. Like, kill the part 2s. When people are like taking the really long route to tell the story.
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, oh my God, thank you for killing that part 2 for me.
Yeah. It's like I like totally understand that. But like if each part has its own individual thing, like I could watch part 2 without seeing part 1 and still understand what's happening because it's a new there's new information in it. But knowing part 1 helps me understand part 2. That's fine. But these part 2s that come up like so and so did this. Part 2 and then so and so did this. That I don't like. Like, put as much as you can and have it as an ending in part 1. That way, when you come to part 2, it's just an extension of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. End the part 2 for those kinds of stories where it's just like, dude, you could have fit this all in a one. Or if you're at least going to do a part 2, at least don't just like end it in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
Because inevitably you come back on the part 2 and you've like missed a couple words.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you know what to do.
Like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so you're notified of all our
Shenanigans. That's
shenanigans.
our shenanigans.
And please leave a comment in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next week.
Tell us if there's something you would like us to talk on.
Yes. Topics.
Yes, just some topics for us. We'd be happy to cover some of them in our episodes. We had like that one flood of like people who were actually sending us stuff, and now nobody's sending us anything.
So what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
We're willing to talk about most things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. Anyways, see you later.
Bye.